That's them. And we welcome you back to Walnut, California, the 3C2A Soccer Championships here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Congratulations once again to the Hartnell College women's team. They are your women's champions here in 2021. That leaves one championship yet to be crowned, and that will take place between Hartnell College. Again, the men's team will take on the host, Mount San Antonio College Mounties. Let me start to introduce our team starting this game. And it may take me a little bit here, as we have four of us joining us on the broadcast. First of all, Diablo Valley College lead broadcaster Joe Hickey back with us again. And Joe, good to have you. We're also joined by Dave LaTourette, the associate head coach at Santa Rosa Junior College. And lastly, Ornesta James Francis, the president of the 3C, or Ornesta James Francis, I'm sorry, the president of the 3C2A College Soccer Coaches Association, head coach at Reedley College as well. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. And Dave, let's start real quick with you. We saw Hartnell College on Friday night with an impressive win over El Camino College. It was a 4-1 win. And we saw in all phases a couple of set pieces early and then a couple of goals in the second half. But they get a little different challenge here against the Mount San Antonio College team that is extremely dangerous at all times. How do you see Hartnell approaching today?
I don't know how much Hartnell is going to change, other than to a degree. Mount SAC is similar to El Camino in terms of how they like to possess and how they like to move players into spaces that get vacated. So there's not a lot different there, other than the confidence that Mount SAC has that they're playing at home, and knowing they're going into this final on a roll as well. Again, coaching staff has been there, players have been there, so maybe more confidence from Mount SAC coming out of the gate as opposed to El Camino, who really struggled to find their feet the first 15 minutes in the semifinal.
And Joe, I know you saw Mount San Antonio College on Friday, and they have to deal with a very dangerous team at all times in Hartnell College. How do you expect them to come out here?
Well, it seems that Mount San Antonio largely focuses on playing their own game. We were talking a bit before we came on the air about how they didn't particularly exploit the weaknesses that American River might have had waiting for them. They just seem focused on doing what they do. But there's certainly something to that approach. They do not lack for experience. 8 sophomores on this team, 5 of whom played in the 2019 final against Fresno, 2 of whom started. Although it's interesting, it's a freshman that is kind of the straw that stirs the drink right now. Matt Palos coming in as the engine and facilitator that makes our game flow, Coach Juan Carlos Sanchez told me. In a season marked by injury and a lot of competition with experienced midfielders, really rounding into shape at the right time. 3 assists already in the postseason, along with the one that got them on the board on Friday. And
Ornesta, I know you were excited about this matchup. We were talking a little bit about it beforehand. But what do you see in the matchup between these two teams that you expect to be a key dynamic, particularly early?
Well, it's 2 traditional powerhouses, probably the 2 best teams in the state all year, and you can see that they're already starting to set the tone. Heavy tackle there by number 12, Romero Sanchez, just to let them know that this is not a game to be trifled with. They're going to come for blood and guts if need be.
Yeah, there's championship pedigree here on both sides.
Yeah, Juan has done an excellent job with Mount SAC ever since he came in 2002. Actually played on the Fresno City team that they played in the Final Four that year.
Long pass, and it will head out of bounds. We'll have a throw-in for Hartnell in the white jerseys. They'll work it from right to left here in the first half. Mount San Antonio College in the dark jerseys, working it from left to right.
Hey, Joe, maybe you can let us all know, too. You gave me some insight in before that Hartnell down a player that was instrumental on Friday for them.
Absolutely the case. Marco Antonio Ruiz, the scorer of the second goal for Hartnell, that just whipped free kick that hit the top right corner from a very difficult angle on the left side. He's had a snake-bitten season. He missed a lot of time early in the year for an ankle injury and suffered the second concussion of this season for him during the semifinals. So a very bittersweet day for him. He'll be unable to participate, and that's for a team like Hartnell that is so lethal on set pieces, a really tough person to be without.
Just underway in the 3rd minute. Men's championship here in the 3C2A. Mount SAC taking on Hartnell.
If I can really.
And Jeff, you had mentioned on we had talked a little bit about this on Friday, but Hartnell coming into this match with 10 sophomores and Mount SAC has 8, which if we looked across some of the teams that we played this season, we didn't see a lot of that. And speaking with my partner in crime, Marty Kinahan, we just talked about how important those sophomores are. As much as it might be that they play and have experience, but being able to carry culture and traditions and leadership over to your programs really helps teams get to this point. So it's not surprising to me that both of these teams are carrying a lot of sophomores with experience into this final.
Yeah, Hartnell, the 2 seed in the North bracket, the top seed here in the Final Four, but they get here after victories over Kenyatta, City College of San Francisco, over El Camino most recently, but then Gianzo, Fresno, and Napa Valley before that. They were the 1 seed in the North bracket. Let me just quickly correct that.
And I like the point you mentioned about the sophomores carrying over, not just carrying a culture, but carrying a style of play. Mount SAC's style of play has always been to dominate the ball, control possession, and really wear the team out with a bunch of body blows.
Starting an attack with Castro. Castro, the leading scorer for the Mounties on the season, and a throw-in coming for Garcia.
Special shout out to Select for providing the balls for us this year. Tremendous quality. We're actually using the same brand ball, the same exact ball that the Bundesliga used. The Select Super Brilliant. Excellent quality, excellent flight to the ball. I always say that a great game ball is more valuable than its weight in gold. It's more beautiful than the Mona Lisa to a real footballer.
Lead pass for Iniguez, too strong, and we'll have a kick coming back the other way for Hartnell.
So Jeff, in the first game today, we of course had a pair of teams that had met each other at the very, very start of this season. A little older business between Mount SAC and Hartnell. These two, this is their 3rd meeting in a 3C2A state final. So far, that series tied 1-1. Mount SAC got the 3rd of their 4-peat against Hartnell back in 2011. Hartnell getting their first title for the men's program in 2013 against Juan Carlos Sanchez's Mounties.
Yeah, Joe, if I'm not mistaken, since that 2011 meeting, Hartnell's won the last 2 meetings against Mount San Antonio College.
There's a little controversy actually between their site and the 3C2A stats website as to whether they actually faced off in 2015. If you take a look at those two, there's actually completely different rosters. So I'm not entirely sure what's happened there, but it looked like they might have met in 2015. I do know they met in 2011, according to Coach Ortega.
Another attack developing for the Mounties. Rangel giving help, able to knock it out. Throw in coming for the Mounties.
And Jeff, while you speak of Rangel for Hartnell, he is, and what I've seen and who I've spoken to, he is one of their triggers, one of their players that can do a little bit of everything for them. He defends well, he's got good pace, he can whip balls in when he gets service, can beat players 1v1, and he can do it in a variety of ways. So maybe we keep an eye on Hartnell's right side and how much they attack through him.
That was a strong move by Esparza to start that attack, but the entry pass sent back out. Mounties able to keep it in, but nothing but white jerseys in the box, and Hartnell able to clear.
Number 15, Andre Ramos, in the center back for Mount SAC, has been absolutely outstanding. Do you gentlemen think that Hartnell will be able to break down through the middle the way they typically try to attack?
I think they probably don't want to break maybe straight at the center backs, but find the space in between. I think it's important that when Hartnell has speed, they do it and they attack with speed and with definitive movements. Watching some of the AR game the other night with Mount SAC, AR tried to just be, it was too slow, which allowed Mount SAC to drop players in back to, if you talk about a 3-5-2 play, they would put 5 players behind the ball quick when American River slowed down.
Mounties working that left side. Lead pass giving chase, and it's Cabrera who sends it out of play. Throw in coming. And the early time of possession seems to favor Mount San Antonio College here as we creep toward the 9th minute. Centering pass, top of the box, cleared out.
Yeah, Mount Sac's definitely had the possession and the location of the field, not been able to find that final ball to get in behind them.
Well, we know that the fields are different sizes as well. This is home field in every sense of the term for the Mounties. This is the field that they play on all year long. Is there something to be gained besides just the proximity to home that might favor the Mounties in this kind of matchup?
Oh, definitely. Understanding the width and depth of the dimensions. For playoffs, we have to be at least a 70-yard wide field, but it could be as wide as 80. And that substantially affects the rhythm, the tempo, the speed of the passing, and the angles for finding those through balls.
As we saw Ramos, who you mentioned earlier, cleared that one out, and a throw-in coming, and a rare foray early into the attacking third for Hartnell.
And one thing Hartnell is used to doing is playing on a 120 by 80. So the size of this field, which I believe is 120 by 80, or pretty darn close, isn't going to be that much of a factor.
Shot from Ramirez, blocked out front and cleared out by the Mounties.
If I'm not mistaken, does Hartnell normally play on a turf field at home?
They play on grass. Probably not as fast as a surface as what we have here at Mount SAC, but they're used to playing on grass. And we talk about, I know Jeff and I had the conversation as it got colder and more damp on Friday night, the speed of the game and the speed of the ball, and players had to adapt to the weight of the balls that they had to play during that match. And, you know, with a daylight game, the daytime game today, and now the fog gone and the field is dried out, the field's going to play slower than it would have the Friday evening.
These are two high-scoring teams, both in the top 6 in goals for average on the season. Is there a speed difference here? Does either team have an advantage overall in team speed that you guys see?
I think both teams have good speed. You know, you might find that we'll have individual matchups where speed can be exploited. But right now you can see the speed of the game. Mount SAC is really putting a lot of pressure, not so much in speed, but in numbers around the ball, and not really Hartnell to link second and third balls together. So Hartnell struggling a little bit with that, I'll say high press, if you want to call it that, from Mount SAC.
I love the physical play right now in the middle. Again, number 12, Ramiro Sanchez for Hartnell, mixing it up with number 10, Anthony Vargas for Mount SAC. Both guys really trying to set the tone of who's going to be the big dog in that midfield.
When Daniel Ortega told me that Sanchez, he's the conference defensive player of the year, and is really their stopper. They move him wherever they need him to try to get a stop. It can be as a deep-lying midfielder, it can be as a right back, whatever needs doing, that's what he does.
Yeah, and I definitely understand why Coach Ortega would put him in the midfield for a matchup against Mount SAC.
And I know Jeff, I know you're on site there, and Joe and I are remote, but it looked like the referee paused the game there just because a couple of players had some words with each other, and I know he probably doesn't want to let this get out of hand, but if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what happened there in that little moment.
Yeah, and it looks like the longer these games go, the more emotions will run high. If it stays a close game into the second half, you got to watch who can guard their emotions as they're facing the end of the season.
And did want to remind everybody here that these games are being broadcast in English and Spanish on SoCal College Sports 1. So if you go to our YouTube channel, SoCal College Sports 1 on YouTube, you have a YouTube app, you can watch this game in English and or Spanish.
Just in case four wasn't enough. That's Mike Zepeda joining the broadcast as well.
Can we just get it to the Ocho? just keep adding dudes. I was gonna say Hartnell normally they play out of a 4-3-3. I've seen them a little in a 3-4-3, but normally a 4-3-3 is the way that they play, and they'll press their outside backs high to get numbers in the attack. But if I'm not mistaken, they look like when they're back in shape and they're defending in a little bit more of a 4-2-3-1, which is different for them. So a little change maybe for Hartnell.
Counter developing for the Mounties and a centering pass. Working left, and the shot fired wide as they got it to Anthony Vargas. But Vargas with the misfire off the left foot.
Well, and to your point, Dave, some of that perhaps the result of the personnel change. Ruiz out, Luis Politron in his place, and Jonathan Mosqueda also getting the start over Ricardo Hinojosa. Those are the two changes on the Panthers side from the semifinal. Mount SAC, on the other hand, confirming all 11.
Did we just lose everything?
I don't hear
Check.
anything. Do you hear anything?
I hear things.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah,
I have
Dave's-
nothing.
Well, we're going to proceed as if we're still here, and hope that we are. Into the 15th minute. And no score early on, and right now, early on, seems to be defenses holding up well between these two teams. Mounties will switch and try to attack on the right side. Back to Vargas. Tries to split the double team. The Panthers will send it clear. Iniguez keeping that line, but Palos can't corral.
And what we see from Hartnell there is one thing that Mount SAC didn't have to deal with against American River was a little bit of that relentless pressure. Mount SAC, for large parts of that game, kind of was able to play around and play through. And American River was successful by compacting the game in their 4-2-3-1. But Mount SAC just not able to play as quickly, so they may have to get used to that. That's stuff that they see during the season, but they didn't see that Friday night, so some adaptations here for Mount SAC and being able to unlock things a little bit.
Throw in coming. And try to cross. And now it's the Mounties with Ramos who can throw it clear. Long pass, but only Panthers there. Trying to find Mendez. Over the first 17 minutes, it appears that Hartnell having a lot of trouble generating a good look out of their own zone and even mounting much of an attack.
As Dave mentioned, that counter press, and particularly the whole idea of trying to get it back 6 seconds after you lose it, they've had that pay some pretty decent dividends here, largely restraining Hartnell from stringing passes together.
I can tell you, as somebody who had played against Mount SAC, even though it was a long time ago, Juan Sanchez 3-5-2 always puts you under pressure trying to bail from the back. So it's very difficult to maintain any kind of rhythm in possession.
Meanwhile, a foul on Hartnell, and the Mounties will initiate. Looking to attack off that left wing. And yeah, talk a little bit about the Mounties. Really, it seems like they are so adept at kind of flooding that mid zone, and it's difficult to even really get yourself onto an attack.
Yeah, and so it can feel overwhelming. It can definitely feel overwhelming at times, where every team wants to look to get a rhythm, get your midfielders on the ball, and when there's no space in that area, you have to resort to long passes, and they've got a sturdy center back in Ramos that is really cleaning up a lot of that.
Tried to play it back, but cleared out. Vargas.
Of course, by this point, Juan Carlos Sanchez. Sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say Juan Carlos Sanchez at this point, just due to the the history of the program, the facilities of the program, has the luxury to recruit to that specific system, that 3-5-2 and that those characteristics of counter press.
Kept alive by Vargas. And Palos has that one knocked out of bounds. Another throw-in coming for the Mounties.
You can see from that shot there just how much energy.
Joe, I heard
the
you had
Mount
mentioned
Sac
that the
kids
other
always
evening,
exert.
and I almost giggled a little bit because, sorry guys, Joe, I heard you say that the other night about Mount Sac having the luxury to recruit players for their system, and I think probably 95% of the other programs, what we do is recruit players and recruit people and character the best we can, and then mold our systems around what we have.
Yeah. Badala, meanwhile, locked up with Vargas, and it's Vargas who's able to send it out, but a throw-in coming for Hartnell in the attacking third. The work there by Allen Badala Corrales earns a throw-in. This is Randhell, the leading scorer, to the top of the box. A 50-50 ball ends up at the feet of Mendez.
That's one of those moments when Hartnell does get into the final third and they get a throw or they get a set piece or they get possession, is maybe being a little bit more clinical and patient to try and create opportunities as opposed to, you know, I don't want to say panic, but try to play too quick. Stay in the moment, play a little bit, be confident in what they do, and then if they lose, trying to, you know, do what similar to what Mount Sac does in counter press, which they do actually like to do that. So, but they need to possess first before they can counter press.
Palos. It's near side. This is Vargas.
Now, there are dangers in trying to pressure a team like Mount Sac. You could definitely run your legs into the ground and leave gaps for them to penetrate like this one right here.
And to counter back to Vargas with the cross. Too high. Headed back out. And Hartnell will look for a counter themselves. Trying to get it outside. They were looking for Mosqueda, who's come in. Cleared out. Throw in coming. Into the 21st minute with no score.
Vargas over there, one of the two players on the Mount Sac starting lineup that did start the 2019 final, so lots of experience in tough moments for him.
Badala unable to keep that one alive. Iniguez looking to switch the attack, but it's Medina that will track it down. Cervantes leans into it.
Onesta, were you here on semifinal Friday?
Yeah, been here all weekend. We had the semifinals on Friday. We had our sophomore showcase, which featured all-stars from the north playing against all-stars from the south. And we actually had over 100 four-year coaches from NC2A Division I, II, and NAIA out here watching and recruiting these kids.
Mosqueda couldn't get to that one in time. Throw in now for Mount San Antonio.
Now, Jeff, in the El Camino Hartnell game, there was a bicycle kick attempt that nearly missed.
There was late, wasn't there, Dave? You might have a better memory.
Yeah.
I do remember the kick.
One of the El Camino players, and I think the joke, at least the joke for me, I'll own it, was that they were 4-1 down, and I said, you know, if they're going to go out, they're going to go out in style with a goal like that.
Right.
It wasn't far off.
We're still leaving here with the highlight of the weekend.
I heard about it.
At the championship.
Now, Dave, I heard about it. I didn't see it. Was it shades of Marcelo Balboa, 94 World Cup?
Oh, it wasn't as momentous as that, but it was actually a true. You know, a lot of people side volley or something. People call it a bicycle. It was a true And as we like to say in our program, if you're gonna take a bicycle attempt, you better get it on frame and do something with it. Otherwise, you're gonna get a mouthful.
And I got to imagine the ribbing's got to be pretty good too, even from the not just from the coaches in the game. But I mean, would I be wrong in that from the other players if you don't get the solid contact?
Exactly. You better hit it. Don't whiff on it.
I like how Mike makes the reference to the '94 World Cup, much more on point than my reference of Pele in the movie Victory from 1981 or '82, I believe.
Hey, that works. Some people can probably relate with that as well as they can with the World Cup.
Yeah, evidently, I like
a hell of a goalkeeper, wasn't he?
Yeah, stay in the. And a takedown and a foul coming.
And Jeff, here this is an opportunity now where Hartnell is super dangerous on set pieces. They'll bring Trujillo up from the center back position. He'll be a target. Zuniga's going to serve this one. But listen, that's a place where the Mount Sac player, I'm surprised he doesn't have a yellow on that because it was from behind. It was a little harsh, but because it's early, we know refs. Like that's a yellow in the 70th, but not a yellow in the 23rd. And if I'm a coach, and I'm Mount Sac's coach, and I'm not Mount Sac's coach, but that's a situation where I'm disappointed with my player. They're just run with him. You've got him on the sideline and just eliminate service from him, but now they give Hartnell a really good set-piece program with Zuniga, who can just drop dimes in the box on top of the ball right now from a dangerous position.
Yeah, Isaac Lamelli Zuniga, who will take the majority of these kicks into the box. It's low and a shot on goal and a save by Cardenas.
Cat-like reflexes on the save there.
He bails out his back line in front of him there with a great save, as this was a great look off the set piece for Hartnell.
It looked like the right back Guadalupe Medina getting to that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that just hit the goalkeeper. I don't even know if he saved it. He's just in a good position, stands tall, and you do what you got to do as a goalkeeper.
They do get a corner out of it, back in front again, and Cardenas off his line with the snag.
You see the 22 there, Javier Espinal. That's the one who got his head to Lamelli's corner kick to open the scoring on Friday night against El Camino. Coach Ortega tells me that those two have been finding each other on corner kicks since they were kids. They know each other real well, and the movements of Espinal and the pinpoint service of Lamelli certainly a winning combination.
Well, Mount Sac is typically definitely a team that will challenge you. They will play very physical. Is there a chance that they're aware of the matchup here to the extent that they become at all reticent to take fouls, recognizing that it can be very dangerous against a team that excels in set pieces?
If they don't, they should be. If you were to walk into their locker room and look at their whiteboard, I hope it would be similar to what we would have on our whiteboard. One of the first things would be to limit or don't give up set pieces to Hartnell in the final third. You don't want to do it to anybody, but with a team like Hartnell, it's even more dangerous.
That's a tough thing to try to take from a kid, though. If a kid is somebody who wants to establish himself as a physical enforcer, to try to take that away from him in the last game of the season, not sure if you're removing a crucial element of who he is.
Well, doesn't that get to the crux of it, of adjustments versus doing what you've done that's been so successful all year as well? And for the coaches here, I know that's got to be a continuing challenge.
Yeah, and my point would be, if we want to set ourselves up physically, let's do it in the middle third of the field, do it in our attacking third of the field. But we have to be really careful to give that up. Hey, a foul is a foul if it's necessary, but when you can run with a guy and defend by staying on your feet, let's run with a guy and defend by staying on our feet against a team that's as good as Hartnell is.
That was a good through ball to Barboza, but he just ran out of real estate, able to cross, but right at the end line, it's sent out by Hartnell. So a chance here for a set piece with a corner for Mount Sac. Or is it a throw-in? I don't know if he...
Good look at that select ball.
Right.
That beautiful ball.
Yeah,
32 panels, excellent flight, good touch to it. Look at that flight there.
Long entry, but again, no one behind that back line, and Cervantes will easily take it.
And a big thank you again to Select. They not only provided the ball, but they actually created a special design. If you look closely, it's got our 3C2A logos, our color schemes for our conference. So it's good to have these young athletes feel like we've got a special conference limited edition.
Ramos able to win it for Mount SAC. Arredondo on the drive. Wants a cross, but has it poked away. And now
That's
a
gotta be
collision
a
and a
card
slide
coming out now.
outside the boundaries. And Ranhel, and you know, this goes back to Friday. We're going to give you the replay here. This goes back to Friday, and you know, Ranhel is one of those. Oh, excuse me, I believe it's Medina. So it is Medina, one of the leaders on defense. I was going to make the point that Ranhel's not afraid to mix it up either, but Medina aggressive there, even a couple of yards outside the boundaries.
And if you looked at him, he actually didn't. He actually put 2 feet down on the ground, and he actually slipped. So he just came in underneath him a little bit there. It's definitely a fall, but maybe not as bad as we thought it was.
Yeah, the lead pass to Badala. Too firm and sent out of play. The Mounties will keep it with a throw-in. In the 29th minute, no score. Men's championship in the 3C2A, and you know, two very evenly matched teams here, and boy, the tension and the drama will only grow from here in a tie game.
A little loose with the distribution on that switch ball.
Agreed. A little too, I don't know, maybe casual is the word with it, but it looks like Hartnell has morphed a little bit out of their 4-2-3-1, or they're just picking moments how they're defending that way, but maybe they've changed back into their 4-3-3 a little bit.
Guys, does one team look any more comfortable at all with how it's going early on?
I'd give the slight edge to Mount SAC, but as the game's gone on, Hartnell's looked more and more comfortable. I agree that they're kind of morphing between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 defensively. Number 20 is dropping back in. Alejandro Ramirez is dropping back in to be a second defensive midfielder. But in attack, he's pushing on and leaving number 12, Ramiro Sanchez, to hold down that middle by himself.
Arredondo fans it outside and finds Vargas.
And that's pretty much Ramirez's, sorry, Jeff, that's pretty much his role, is he will sit and protect the center backs from Hartnell. So not uncommon to see the 12 sit there in that, you know, that holding midfielder, what we call the 6th position.
Esparza tries to thread it through. It's sent back, but the Mounties are able to keep it.
Another example of that counter press in action there.
And the chip pass ends up with Hartnell. They try the long pass into space, trying to find Ranhel. He will run out of room. It'll go back to Mount San Antonio College here in the 31st minute.
Damian Esparza looked real comfortable in that foot race out there.
I was thinking the same thing. It was, Ranhel looked a little bit fatigued, maybe tired, one of the two. He expended a lot of energy on Friday night. He played a lot, played with a lot of emotion, scored a goal. And I don't know if it's just kind of tired in that moment or tired being a carrier.
Polatron trying to thread it through to Badala. Now a good move by Vargas trying to win the foot race. He'll get it. Well, they'll say it's out off of Vargas, and a throw-in going back to Hartnell.
Vargas brought out his bag of party tricks, but Polatron wasn't having any of it there.
And Polatron again in the lineup with Ruiz unavailable.
Coming back to Ranhel for just a moment, Coach Ortega told me the longer this game goes close, the more likely he is to be a factor. He's got 6 game-winning goals already this season, 2 of them coming in the postseason. He extended the lead against De Anza before De Anza got one back, and he had the stoppage time game winner to get them through the first round against Napa Valley.
Again, they try the long pass. Over there working on Esparza, who's able to clear it back out. Sanchez. Pass broken up and stolen. Now a counter developing. Mounties threaded through. And the flag up, I should say, offside. Just barely as they were trying to find Barbosa.
That pass needed to be just a moment earlier. Barbosa held his run for just a second, but couldn't quite keep it onside after the next touch taken there by Pisano.
I love Polytron giving a little extra shove at the end of the play after the whistle's blown.
He says, I'm still here.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to establish your physicality, let them know that if there's a bully on the block, it's going to be me.
Well, probably two teams here that more often than not used to being the bully.
Definitely,
Running
definitely.
to another one just like them. Sent out a play and a throw in coming.
You know, I've been really impressed with number 12, Romero Sanchez, today. Really going through portions, holding down a midfield by yourself, going against a team as stacked as Mount SAC.
Padala, wheels, crossed, played out. Ramos there. Trying to keep it alive on that far sideline. Mounties with a throw in, they want to hurry.
And another clue there, you see number 20 dropping right back in. Alejandro Ramirez dropping right back in for Hartnell to help in that, turn into that 4-2-3-1 defensively.
Arredondo will play it back. Palos directing traffic. Vargas with the long pass. Hartnell able to win it back. Mosqueda back to Polytron, and they'll look to reset. Padala keeps that one alive. Rangel on the drive, a shot just wide.
And there you see the danger of Hartnell in that counterattack coming down that right channel.
And especially Rangel there, who is just, Jeff had mentioned earlier his knack for scoring big goals, and although that wasn't very close, that bouncing ball is really dangerous as a goalkeeper. You can't come and close the angle too much because you open up space over your head, so you have to sit and be patient and hope he puts it in either off frame or in a range that you can deal with it. So Hartnell opening things up a little bit, maybe gain some confidence from that as well.
I started to make the point that you were seeing what looked to me like an awful lot of pressure on the ball by the Mounties, and maybe they were comfortable in the free play here that Hartnell couldn't really counter too quickly on them, but how quickly does that seem completely off the mark as Hartnell generates a good chance right away.
Well, yeah, now we're seeing another chance. You're going to put Zuniga on a set piece. This one maybe even from a more dangerous position than the earlier one.
And it's Esparza again trying to poke that one free against Rangel.
And we got our first yellow card of the day. That matchup has been a key one. Down Hartnell's right and Mount SAC's left.
As I would make the point, for having watched these teams a little bit, that I wouldn't be surprised if that one got a little more chippy before it's all said and done. I think, again, two guys that I think are not afraid to really get after it out there.
Yeah, good time for a yellow card. I think that probably comes maybe not so much of that foul itself, but a little bit of persistent infringement, from Mount SAC.
Lamelli into the box, and they are unable to redirect as the Mounties clear it out. Back to Mount SAC.
If I could take a second to give a great thanks to Mount SAC for hosting this weekend. Tremendous facilities, tremendous leadership from Joe Jenham, Tammy, everyone involved. This has been a beautiful experience for all the players involved, and to be able to do this while also having two teams participate in the Final Four, really impressive.
Arredondo able to win it for the Mounties. Now a chance. Mendez in the center, fans it outside. In from the left. Mount SAC on the board. Arredondo got it back.
Was that Travis?
No, Paceno? Yep. Paceno, excuse me. I do want to correct that. It was Paceno getting it back.
Yeah. And that just comes from a little bit of feistiness in the middle of the field. The teams battle for the ball. We talked the other night about how things don't have to be pretty. And the big thing that they did right there, split the center back and the outside back, and in against Cervantes there, Mount SAC 1-0.
And, you know, the speed of the transition, the speed of the combination play. Mount SAC's been playing a little bit too side to side, a little bit taking that extra touch. And on that counterattack, you see 1 touch, 2 touch, quickly up the field, getting in behind.
Third goal of the season for Pisano. And the Mounties in the 38th minute break through.
Much like in our women's game from this morning, Jeff, we've got a guy without a ton of goals scored in the season to date, making a big difference here on the big stage.
And for Hartnell, they have faced some adversity. Talked about the Deanza game, but they were taking the penalty kicks against Fresno in round 2, surviving after trailing very late in that game, but they'll have to come back here again.
After it came from behind twice in that game,
I believe you're right.
Yep, absolutely right, Anesta. Tied 0-0 going to extra time, and Fresno got the lead twice. In fact, it was Marco Antonio Ruiz we were discussing before, another bomb of a free kick that tied that game in the 115th minute.
And I was speaking with Coach Ortega before the match. He said that Fresno match really forced them to take their game to another level. Let's see if they can dig deeper into their well and come back against this well-coached, well-organized Mount SAC team.
Yeah, I think it's character building when you get a team that's won 2 of the last 3 championships in round 2 as the 8th seed. You know, that'll toughen you right up.
We talked about how tight some of those teams were and the, you know, bunched up in when you look at the PowerPoints, you know, a win here, a draw instead of a loss, and for a team like Fresno, or we were in the same situation. Instead of an 8 seed, you could be a 6 seed. Instead of a 6 seed, you become a 3. And then we saw teams that were, you know, 4 or 5 seeds, would have been 4 or 5 seeds with 2 weeks left in the season, became 13 or 14 seeds.
How much that do you think is due to
quality there?
How much do you think that is due to just coming back from a year off with COVID? It seemed like scores were pretty up and down statewide this year.
Yeah, I think it was. There's something to do with it because of experience. I think as the season got later on, I think you saw things start to balance themselves a little bit more. You saw sort of the true colors of the way the season progressed. But you know, some teams came out a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I know there are about 3 different conferences this year where you were looking at ties for champions and possible 3-way ties going into the last week of the season.
Well, and the distribution of quality throughout the bracket, especially in the Northern California bracket, there was some carnage in there in terms of top seeds falling back and forth. Number 10 American River, who made the trip all the way here, got to host their 2nd and 3rd round games because so many of the high seeds on their side had fallen.
Yeah, started first round with number 15 seed Sequoias getting the upset. Location for a free kick. Looks like a 2-man wall. 2 players standing over the kick. Go for the far post, coming back across. Ooh, just a bit outside.
I think that's Matt Palos meeting that at the far post. And, I was glad that when I got a chance to talk to Juan Carlos Sanchez, it was the one interview that I did over Zoom as opposed to a phone call, and to see the smile that his face broke into when I brought up Matt Palos. It's somebody who's experienced quite a bit of adversity over the course of this season between competing for that starting spot and dealing with injuries, and obviously could not be more pleased with what he's become here in the playoffs.
He's a real engine in the midfield. I don't think he's stopped running this entire first half. Real spark plug. He's involved in almost every play.
Yeah, it's exactly the word that Coach Sanchez used, was the engine and facilitator there in the center.
Mount SAC looking to swing the ball from out right to left. Forward pass intercepted, and Hartnell will try to counterattack themselves. Looks like neither team really able to get a hold of the ball for his last minute or so.
Those first couple minutes right after a goal hits the back of the net can be a very chaotic time, and both teams just trying to make sure that they either capitalize or don't get capitalized on during the course of these next few minutes. Try to get it to halftime at the very least. If you're Hartnell, you want to make sure that you don't suffer a boom, and you'd love to get it back. There's an opportunity, though.
You're spot on. A high percentage of goals come in the 5 to 10 minutes right after a goal, where teams can often be caught up in the emotions.
It'd be interesting to see right here, look at perhaps a small howl for a penalty. Nothing really in that, I don't think.
No, just two guys going for the ball.
Nothing egregious enough to set that off.
Moving towards stoppage time.
2021, I'm glad to see all the different haircuts coming back to football. Looking at Andre Ramos, got the awesome bowl cut. Politron's got an excellent mullet going. It's like the 90s again, isn't it?
We need Jerry Curl out there.
If I could, I would, brother.
We saw some great hairstyles in the women's game as well. Jada Taylor with the very tall, bright blue dye job there.
Yeah, we were of the opinion, let everybody have their own hairstyle. That would be perfect for
Yeah.
us, you know?
Yeah, play-by-play guys love that.
Bedoya can't get there in time. Sent back out as Ramos comes out to clear. Ramirez will try to switch the attack. Pass intercepted, and he's looking for a quick attack as Guillen will get it to Vargas.
Halftime.
And there it is. We head to intermission. The Mounties on top, 1-0. You're watching the 3C2A Men's Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
We'd like to remind everybody to remain off of the playing surface during halftime. You need to use the restrooms. They are located on the far side of the east. And turn to your
SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's the final Mount Sac Hartnell, and Mount Sac up 1-0. After that first half, a back-and-forth affair, both teams finding some comfort zones, but at the end of the one, it's 1-0, the Mounties on top of the Panthers. Joe and Dave, some thoughts, recap of that first half?
You know, I think Mount Sac is doing what Mount Sac wants to do, possess a little bit more of the game and impose their will on Hartnell. And right now, Hartnell hasn't been able to impose themselves as much as they'd like on Mount Sac. They got a couple set pieces from key situations, a little half chance from Ranhale on the counterattack. But, you know, right now, Mount Sac seems to be able to control things a little bit, and, you know, Hartnell needs to make some adjustments.
Yeah, for Hartnell to work their way back into this, the opportunities they had with free kicks were at least a little bit enticing. Nothing has yet come of it. But particularly that matchup down the right wing, you mentioned Ranhell there, Dave. He's going to be going up against Damian Esparza, who now, along with not wanting to give up free kicks if he can avoid it, is also on a yellow card. And so that may well become a decisive matchup down the stretch. We know that Ranhell has had a way of showing up in big moments over the course of this tournament.
We'll go back to the goal here from that first half.
And this goal here, a product of a bit of the quality that Juan Carlos Sanchez wants to see there. That's Mendez, the false 9 on the service. After a nice heel flick out of the midfield, a nice bit of improvisation from Matt Palos, and the two of them combining to put it on a plate for a slightly unexpected source there in Travis Piceno.
Now, we talk about decisive moments when they make a quick decision to run right at the center backs, which they haven't had a chance to do much because of the way that Hartnell has played, and they like to protect their center backs a little bit. But in that chance, they're in between the lines, not protecting the center backs, run straight at a center back, draw it, play it into the space between the center back and the outside back, and a quick finish there. But on the flip side of that, speaking goalkeeping, from my world, I'd love to see my goalkeeper be a little bit more on his front foot, either get down and close that a little bit more, hold his shape a little bit longer. Again, I'm back as who they are.
And Lamelli will take the corner for Hartnell once again. Looking to the front, and it slips through. Bedoya tries to play it back in. Ramirez with the header, but that's wide and out of play. So the Mounties survive the attack.
And to your point there, Dave, the goalkeeper there, Santiago Cervantes, has come up big repeatedly for this team. A little bit surprising not to see him embrace that big moment there. 7 saves on Friday, a couple of big charge downs to help preserve that 2-1 lead while that game was still very much in play.
And a handball.
Yeah, ironically, sorry, Jeff, as much as Mount Sac has the ball, as a goalkeeper, you like sometimes to have touches and make a few saves.
Medina.
Cervantes.
Ranhell looking for the cross. Sent back and out of play by Esparza. Sorry, Dave, please.
Oh, no, I was sorry. Cervantes hadn't had many touches, and again, as much as Mount Sac has the ball and possess it, Cervantes hadn't been involved in the game very much other than dealing with a few back passes. So, you have to, as a goalkeeper, it's difficult, but, be ready at any time at any moment.
Arcing for the far post. And again, the Mounties, solid defense in the box. They're able to clear it out. Couple of set pieces for Hartnell in the first half, and a couple here in the early going in the second half, but so far, not much to show from it. Ranhell again, in on Esparza this time. He's able to make the pass, and it's just sent wide. Give you a look at the replay here from field level. And that was Mosqueda, who was almost able to slip that one past Cardenas, but just wide.
One more look.
Well, we saw Rangel, if my memory is right, Dave, we saw Rangel go just about wire to wire on Friday. Seem to recall him being out there for the vast majority, if not all of it, and there he was able to kind of get a half step on Esparza, and that's been the matchup all day long. But can fatigue be something of a factor maybe if we get deep into the second half?
Yeah, and it could be both ways. Maybe Mount SAC did exude a lot of energy in that first half with the way that they pressed and put pressure on Hartnell defensively, which really disrupted Hartnell. But at some point, maybe that catches up with Mount SAC as well. I mean, we'll see. But that's how.
Lead pass for Rangel as Esparza gives chase. Throw in coming for Medina.
Might be having some difficulties here with Dave LaTourette's feed.
Okay. We'll hope to get Dave back. Joe, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
All right.
So we don't need to go, and then there were one over here.
Right, yeah. From 5 down to 1. Scary thought for me. Ramos clears that one out. And another corner coming.
Am I with you guys right now?
Yes, you are, Dave.
Okay.
There he is.
And another set piece coming. And Lamelli, and each time you see this happen, you think Mount SAC treading in dangerous waters. The header blocked at the point and cleared out. They were able to get that one on goal, but the back line stands up and sends that out. We'll take you back to the corner moments ago.
It is Andre Ramos getting to that and making sure to keep his keeper from even being troubled by it.
Yeah. Ornesta James Francis, who joined us in the first half, talked a lot about Ramos and really anchoring that defense, and that was a great job in the center there, preventing the shot from even reaching goal.
Yeah, I think Ramos just sits there in the center and wins what he can. He's not really big. Well, his hair is big, but he's not as big as you'd expect sometimes for a center back, but really smart, times his jump well, defends really well. So that's the dude you want as a center back. And I'm not sure how confident Cardenas is coming off his line, to be honest with you. Came off on that one ball that Rangel played across the middle, didn't deal with it. And if I was Hartnell, I maybe would draw a ball into that 6 box a little bit more and challenge him to see how he deals with it.
Paulo's able to clear. Mounties thinking about a counter. This is Castro. We haven't called his name very much today, the leading scorer for the Mounties, but Hartnell has done a good job defending against Castro. Meanwhile, we have a player down and a whistle comes in. Looks like it is Paulos. Of course, easy to say Castro the leading scorer, but the Mounties nowhere close to the kind of team where you really could just sit on one guy.
Yeah, for sure. Their ability to kind of bring it from all points of the field is a defining characteristic. They got creators everywhere. 4 players tied for the team lead in assists at this point. Juan Carlos Sanchez's idea is, you stop our wings? Fine. Here comes our 9. Okay, you got our 9 taken care of. Now you get to deal with our 10. And if you're going to pack it in completely, let's get the outside backs involved. It's just, there are all sorts of places where you've got quality.
Playing back to Cardenas. And Cardenas take a moment to settle his team down, and I think it's a good moment to take. We've seen a few set pieces early as Hartnell has come out of the break with a little more purpose here in the early going in the second half.
And we know that's playing with fire with this Hartnell team.
Blocked by Iniguez, but out of play. Throw in for Polatron coming. And Bedoya on the bouncing ball. Draws a couple of black jerseys, and the Mounties able to dispossess. Garcia.
Hartnell much less passive here in the second half as they've come out to just try and disrupt the game a little bit. And you have to try and disrupt Mount Sac's rhythm. So Hartnell doing a good job of that, and they realize they've got 45 minutes or more left in the season, and they need to impose themselves on the game if they want to be here in the end.
Sanchez able to chip that one to the top of the box, but Lomeli unable to line up a shot. Cardenas sends that one out of play, and got to believe that's something of a miscue for Cardenas as he sends that one off the turf and directly out of play. And see a throw in here for Polatron in the attacking third for Hartnell, and they give it right back. Bedoya working against Gutierrez and unable to corral it. Well, you see this sometimes where there's a more aggressiveness from Hartnell, and I think Joe was making the point earlier, and that's exactly so often when the opposition, especially one as good as Mount Sac, becomes more dangerous, how quick a counter can come when you are trying to press the action.
Yeah, essentially opening up spaces behind you out of desperation. It's a very effective way to wind up down 2-0. And so I think Hartnell, with a measured approach here, I don't think they're selling out in any way, shape, or form. And so recognizing they need to bring the game a little bit more, not leave it until too late. But we may see that desperation if we get another 15, 20 minutes further into this, and they're still not on the board.
And Polatron able to get to his feet, but a reminder with Ruiz out, a little less depth at that position for Hartnell. And so Polatron will soldier on. Meanwhile, it's Castro trying to split the double team. Out of play, Cabrera able to win it back, and he'll give to Cervantes.
Castro, a representative of the under-20 men's team for Guatemala.
There's a good stat, Mike.
Good drop.
Thank you.
One of few that I have.
Thank you, Mike Cepeda. Hey, he's just helping to produce and direct the broadcast today, that's all.
If you're coming in, you just better come in and drop some knowledge.
Something useful. To my,
yeah.
You know, knowing my luck, it's probably already been dropped a couple times.
No, I think you got there first. Great slide tackle sent out by Cabrera, throw-in coming for the Mounties.
In large part, you're getting a chance to drop that in here in the 58th minute because to this point, Hartnell have made sure that we haven't had much reason to talk about Castro. Which is a bit of a surprise given the quality he normally brings.
Had plenty of reason to talk about him on Friday, that's for sure.
Yeah, 4 goals
without doubt
in the postseason already. But held out today, but the Mounties still sitting on a 1-0 lead here in the 59th minute.
Look, the last name's Zepeda. It's I'm half Central American. I got to show out for Central America. There you go.
Yeah, in fact, missed the second round game here in the playoffs in order to participate in a camp. And looks to be playing in some qualifiers coming up in January.
Palos gets it back to midfield. And Hartnell will have a throw-in.
You see there the whirling dervish energy of Alex Mendez, the freshman, one of the few freshmen out of Cathedral on this team. Mendez is a center forward, but he transitioned there from the attacking mid position, and very crafty passer, but also generally the most likely Mount Sac player to end up with a yellow card. Had to miss the third round game due to a suspension.
Espinal, meanwhile, going up for the header, and that draws a whistle. Goes back to Hartnell. Into the box. Bouncing ball. And played out. Skips by Mendez. Another throw-in coming.
And you can see Mount Sac also does a really good job of dropping numbers around the ball. The more that Hartnell tries to slow the game and wait and beat a defender, the more numbers that Mount Sac drags back into the central areas of the field, making it really difficult.
Played out of bounds, and Bedoya on the drive wins a corner for Hartnell.
Here we go again, another opportunity for Lomeli.
Yep. There is a look at Isaac Lamelli Zuniga. High ball out front, bounces through. And Garcia able to whip that one back to midfield.
There's Ramiro Sanchez in pursuit. Onesta, loving his work in the first half, continues right on, making sure that no counterattack can develop there.
Hartnell has reverse time of possession to a large degree here in the second half. But as so often is the case, you wonder at what point Mount SAC very much intentionally trying to lull them into an opportunity that might create a counter. Medina to the top of the box, where Ramos will send it out. Cabrera will go back to Cervantes.
You know, as Hartwell has some possession here now, and they've found their low-lying midfielders and also changed the point of attack through their outside backs, there has been some big gaps to play into underneath and in front of Mount SAC's back three, and they haven't played it, which is really surprising to me because that space is open and that's where you want to go. You need to drag one of those three center backs out and play little combinations to get around it if you're not going to get to the outside.
Let's take a look at the replay here on this call, Palos and Espinal. And again, we'll give you a slightly different angle here. And Espinal certainly pleading his case, but what do you see there, Dave?
Not a lot there, in my opinion. These guys are just, you let him play a little bit. If he's going to take a dive, he takes a dive. He's just, if you see guys get used to this, one thing they'll get crafty is, and referees need to stay up on it too, but they'll stick a leg behind themselves and they'll almost drag a leg and purposely almost trip themselves. You see it at a high level, and kids watch high-level games, so they start to pick up things like that, and our referees need to do the same maybe.
Do want to quickly correct, that was Mendez. And the ball sent up and over.
Well, to your point, Dave, it's the same sort of little red queen race that we've been seeing in basketball between getting in a shooter's landing area and now kicking out. And so at some point or another, the other thing has to become a foul. Same thing we'll be waiting for faked quarterback slides, I gather, after the internet blew up last night from that play by the Pitt quarterback.
Mosqueda in on Garcia. Now he'll wheel back out. Cleared out by the Mounties, but not all the way.
And we know that embellishment is, to a degree, part of the game. But I think there's also a line there. We don't want it to become part of the game where it starts to make, a mockery of what our officials have to do. And it's already difficult enough. But then when they have to start to figure out whether, guys are diving in and how we're giving cards is one thing. So it's our referees have to continue to improve. They have, they start to learn the game a little bit differently as the game evolves.
Is it one of those things where a dive, from a referee standpoint, is you can't really put it into words, but you know it when you see it?
I think it's pretty good, and one thing we tend to see in this is that players will throw their hands up or they'll throw their head back, and that's an indication to some of the referees that it's not really a foul, and they learn that, and they learn players too, and who likes to embellish a little bit more than others.
Rangel goes
at that
back
point,
to
you almost
Medina.
want to ask.
Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
At that point, you almost want to ask the player, like, have you watched yourself actually fall? It doesn't look like that.
Exactly.
Trying to work on the left side, but a clean steal. And the long pass played ahead to Mendez, but Cervantes will get there first. Vargas. Play it back. Sanchez keeping it alive. High ball. Bedoya giving chase, but Ramos will play it back on a bounce to Cardenas.
So that is some impressive calm from Ramos there with Bedoya breathing down his neck.
I think that epitomizes him, and that's what you want from a center back, somebody who's not only exudes all the technical and tactical characteristics, but something like that calmness that it resonates itself across the rest of your team as well.
Arredondo on the drive. Played into space, looking for a cross, and Cabrera, the only one there. Garcia will handle the throw-in. It was Travis Paisano in the 37th minute. The scoring here in the men's championship match, Mount SAC and Hartnell. Right of the box, played out again. Another throw incoming. I'm going to say this one off of.
Back to the goal.
Yeah. We'll take you back here. And Paisano able to just slip it by Cervantes.
Yeah, it almost, I didn't notice that earlier, but it almost looked like it went inside that left foot, inside his left heel, and sort of threw him. And that's one of my biggest points of contention with goalkeepers is, I want them to hold their shape for as long as they can and either let the defenders do their work, but also really make the attacker beat you as opposed to opening up opportunities for attackers and strikers to beat you.
Gets by Gutierrez. And now Hartnell could go on the attack in the Mount SAC zone. Looking for Lamelli. Gets through. Shot blocked at the point. And again, a 50-50 ball. The Mounties with a chance for a counter. And that looked like Paisano again, and he went down. Might have been slightly from behind there, but no call. And Hartnell escapes. That was rapidly developing into a breakaway for the Mounties.
We had a pair of attempted rips from the Hartnell players getting blocked, and that second one, he just lost his footing.
Yeah,
no foul there.
Absolutely, that's a great job on the replay, and no question about it, Paisano. Well, you guys made the point a few minutes ago about tripping yourself. That was certainly not intentional, but decidedly on point because it was Paisano that took Paisano down. Header out front, blocked. Still in the box, and the one-timer up and way over the crossbar. Someone's got a long run to go get that one.
That flicked-on header, one of those dangerous things that can happen when you're trying to defend a corner kick. You have no idea where that's ending up, and if anybody's closing the run up on the far post, it can be an easy tap-in.
Hooked in, through the mouth of the goal. Nobody there to redirect right out front. And, David, go back to something you said there, and that time it was Cardenas. I should say, Cardenas, who really doesn't want to come off that line at all to challenge that ball. Not saying he should, but that one just slides right through, but nobody there to redirect.
But you can see there's a little bit of hesitancy from him of whether he wants to come win balls or not. And I can almost tell by his starting shape that he hasn't have a starting shape that puts himself in the position to want to come attack balls. He's willing to just let balls drop in.
Lamelli with a little trouble. Rangel up to challenge. And Cardenas wants a call. This is going to belong to Hartnell.
Now it's going to be another corner kick. Again, this is me personally, and if I'm on the sideline, I'm going to keep putting him under pressure because he does not look comfortable.
Another corner coming. That time the Mounties able to throw it clear. Palos wins the ball. Little hurdle. Played into space. Giving chase. It's Iniguez. Iniguez gets it ahead. It's a foot race with Cervantes, who's able to clear. Arredondo over to Iniguez. Down goes Iniguez. And there is a whistle. That was a quick, short whistle.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. We'll have to.
And a little bit delayed.
Check a replay.
And here we'll see. Well, a lot of contact there as Sanchez comes over on the challenge. Meanwhile, Iniguez still down.
Well, they're starting their gamesmanship a little bit early here in the 71st minute. I think he's trying to bleed this one a little bit. He's fine. He's going to get up and sprint.
You get a little rest when you're down there sometimes at an apt moment?
If that's what he wants. Apparently that's what he wants. Honestly, I don't know if there's too much of a foul there. I can understand why they'd call it. If I was on Mount SAC sideline, I want the foul. If I'm Hartnell, I'm saying, hey, he's in there. The guy comes in straight up, shoulder to shoulder, and he goes down a little bit easy. But you can see it both ways.
Well, it'll belong to the Mounties, and they will play it back out. As Palos in the middle to Arredondo. Gutierrez. They try to attack on that right wing. They wanted to go to Paisano, and it's out off of Hartnell. Garcia. And Paisano, who has the goal so far, loses that one out of play. Moving toward now into the 73rd minute, and it's still only a one-goal game. Do we see an adjustment yet of any kind really here from Hartnell at this point? Or still a little too early to make any further adjustment?
I think they've already made an adjustment in terms of their energy and the way that they've chosen to impose themselves on the game as opposed to absorbing the game a little bit. So I think that adjustment has worked. The series of corner kicks there, not a ton out of the run of play, although they've had some chances getting in on the wide. So for now, 17, we're going to look at probably another 20 minutes with added time. I think they're okay for now, but at some point, I'm sure the coaches have their choices of time left and when they make those adaptations, whether it be systematically or formation or whatever it is.
Off of Paisano and back to Cervantes for a goal kick. Mounties in control. Esparza.
One thing that Hartnell has done, which I've always liked when teams have done this to Mount SAC, is sit one of their attacking players high on their central center back on Ramos as much as they can and not let them play back through him. He's a big trigger for their game in terms of change the point of attack, the composure that he has on the ball, and if essentially you can take it off of his feet, you eliminate one of their key players and how much they have the ball. Fresno City did that really well with Johnny Rodriguez a couple years ago. They, instead of playing their 4-4-2, they played a 4-4-1-1, and his job was just deal with the central center back, and once it went to one side of the center backs, don't let it come back.
Esparza. Arredondo.
But then you can't let that happen either, too. They're letting them play underneath to their D-mids, and they're spinning it and being able to distribute.
Yeah, Paisano wanted to cross, but in offside.
We see again a little bit of the gamesmanship. Could have easily given that back to the keeper, Cervantes, but instead, no, you've got one over there. You go fetch that.
Yeah, exactly.
Every second counts.
Long kick from Cervantes. Palos now Rangel in a foot race. And a goal! Oh! Rangel! From a tough angle! Finds the net!
We said it before.
Joe had talked
6
about
game-winning
him.
goals on the season.
And, Joe mentioned that too. And my point about goalkeeping, Cardenas wanted no part of coming off his line to deal with that. And then he was so pinned to his near post on that one. The power of that ball just gets through him and gets to the back post. So some of the things we've talked about in the game, how it's opened up and changed a little bit for Hartnell, but composure on the ball here. Beautiful through ball. And then just an absolute laser, and it just goes through Cardenas. She doesn't even stand up to it, and that gets beat. He gets beat on the near post.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a tough angle where you thought maybe Rangel will look for a cross. And you wonder from that angle, guys, is it possible that Cardenas was thinking that maybe there was going to be a cross in there? Because he's a little bit.
If you look at his.
Yeah, he's a little off the post.
Yeah, Jeff, you're right. You're right. He's a little off the post, which is fine. But if you look at the shape of his shoulders, they're not square to the ball. And with my goalkeepers, my biggest thing in those situations is you've got to play shoulders square to the ball so you can deal with near post or deal with the ball driven across. And he's played that way the whole game. So maybe Rangel sees that and just says, I'm just going to rip it near bar on him because the way that he's turned, he's not ready to deal with a shot.
16th goal for Rangel, who's got it back. On the drive, Esparza giving chase, and Rangel slides down, maintains possession, and now Hartnell will look to attack. Medina sent back out. Castro all the way back, but Hartnell still in possession. Lamelli, and they'll work it across to switch the attack to the far side.
So you want to talk about a different energy for a team right now, my goodness.
Into the box again. One-timer for Sanchez, and that was not entirely dissimilar from goal number 3 going back to Friday night. Sanchez coming up with a head of steam, looking to unload, but he sent this one wide. But it was Sanchez from just the other side of the semicircle there who was able to add that 3rd goal and give Hartnell that 2-goal cushion in the second half.
Good on-ball work there from Kevin Rincon as well to gain the space and set it up.
Yeah, it was Vargas getting over to just disrupt that shot enough to send it out off of Mount SAC. So Hartnell comes away with another corner here in the 78th minute. Brand new game tied at 1.
It almost looks like the team's traded jerseys at halftime.
Yeah,
in terms of energy and who's possessing it now and how it's going. But and after that last sequence, if we watch, from a coaching perspective, if you watch body language and you watch it, you can see the way that Hartnell is moving now. They're confident. They're calm on the ball. And now Mount SAC is a little bit disjointed. They're starting to get into each other a little bit in terms of, whether they're yelling at each other, what that is. But you can see the body language. Ramos with his hands on his knees. And if I'm Hartnell, as much as you don't want to, give too much away, you've got to go at – this is the point where you have got to go at Mount SAC.
Here are the goals.
Yeah, going back, this is Paisano off a beautiful feed. And then
live action.
The equalizer back live, Lomelli. Again, working on that far post, top of the box. Medina high up, goes down. No call as it's cleared away. Now the call does come in. It'll go back to Mount San Antonio College.
We've been talking a lot about Rangel on the finish there, but that ball in, one touch from Lomelli after the bounding ball is not claimed by Palos. He stands strong and just scoops that one into the right side of the box. That is outstanding service. And again, Lomelli playing as a false 9. He's fielded as a center forward, but very much their playmaker. And there you see it.
Yeah, 2 guys who have done it all season long for this Hartnell team, and they team up there for the biggest
really
goal of the year
delicately
to this
weighted
point.
Ball. Yeah. Absolutely, delicately weighted ball into him. And if you go back and you look at that, I just noticed it. I watched the language of Rangel on that, and he 100% was trying to go near post on that ball, and he threaded a needle, and had read the goalkeeper really well in terms of he's either picked that up across the first 75 minutes of this match or just happened to see it in the moment.
Yeah, he definitely drew back. No thought of maybe trying to do one more pass or try and thread one across. That was a wind-up Through ball now, looking for Ranhel in a foot race, and Ramos with the slide tackle able to clear that ball out. It'll belong to Hartnell, but Ramos winning that all-important foot race to get to that ball.
Oh, sorry. Left.
And we'll bring
We'll
you
see
back
if
live.
Hartnell changes up where they serve these corners. They've been going to the same spot every time, and Ramos sort of has the number and the range on it.
And that one just wide. And that's maybe as good a look off of a corner as we've seen today for Hartnell.
Agreed.
And to speak to what you were saying, it looks like that one, this time around, Espinal realizing that he needs to beat Ramos to that spot and just gets the flick, barely wide.
Yeah, that was
And
very similar. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I wonder if Ramos is trying to man mark Trujillo, their center back, as he comes up, because you saw him just stay with Trujillo as opposed to hunting that ball. And I'm sorry, I don't know who that was from Hartnell that ran across the front of those two to try and get ahead on it. So maybe a little deception there from Hartnell to create that opportunity.
82nd minute, tied at 1 as Cabrera will flick that one back, and Hartnell with possession. Good move on the drive. They try to play to the top, looking for Lamelli. Poked clear, but Hartnell still in possession. Polatron. They'll try again on that left wing. Back to Polatron. Arredondo able to get in, get enough of it to send it back out. Cabrera. Pop flies into the box and cleared out. Not all the way. Big collision. They'll play on. One-timer. And that time off his line, it was Cardenas. It was busy in front with Bedoya. Once again, planted at the goal mouth. But Cardenas comes out here with a good challenge.
Yeah, credit to him for hanging on to that. He's got to come win that ball. It's served up for him, but he does a really nice job under some pressure to hang on to that and not spill it.
Rangel again in a foot race. Esparza tries to rip it free. Rangel kept it for a moment, but then ran out of room.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go down on that tackle there, but he actually stayed up. Pretty impressive. As right there, that's one of those spots where you don't want players to dive, but that's a spot where you can sell it a little bit and maybe get a call.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely enough contact there. I think if Rangel goes down, he's getting the call. 84th minute.
Kudos to him for being strong.
There's Arredondo off and Brandon Pineda on for Mount SAC. And that is Pineda. Ball goes back to Hartnell. And the tension that was already pretty high continues to mount. Are we looking at possibly our first overtime of the weekend?
You know what happens when you start talking about that kind of stuff, Jeff?
Yeah, listen, you wouldn't have no way of knowing this, but I have an amazing ability as a jinx. We'll see what happens.
So what that tells me is Jeff's saying that specifically because he has dinner plans.
Yeah.
Well, the other night we willed a goal upon the El Camino Hartnell game when it was 2-0. We were talking about the difference it would make. We talked about it, in less than 30 seconds later, El Camino pulled 2-1 back, and the game changed pretty quick.
Hey, let's face it, this is a little bit mystical, this game. There's some weird stuff going on.
It looks like we've got a little of that going on behind her there.
Lamelli will take the free kick. In on goal, punched out, still in there, over the crossbar. Well, rather than going for the catch, Cardenas elected to go with the fist here. Tries to punch this one out, and he partially fans on it, and that was a dangerous moment for Mount San Antonio College. That was a loose ball with a lot of empty net, but they're unable to get it on goal, instead up over the crossbar, and the Mounties will move on, still tied at 1.
Jeff, I don't know if you saw our discussion about it being a mystical game there as Lomeli was getting ready to put that ball in. The Hartnell women in their 3C2A championship gear behind, all kind of doing a little ooh, boogie, 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 trying to will that goal as well.
See, I don't get this stuff out of nowhere. Meanwhile, well off his line, it's Cervantes who comes out to thwart the attack for the Mounties.
Cervantes has not had much to do in the last 25 or 30 minutes or so, and he's still awake, it appears.
Yeah, as you see there, Cabrera warding off Mendez as he closed, and that gave Cervantes just enough time.
And there is that work rate and intensity from Alex Mendez. Every half chance he's going to be trying to jump on it.
Trouble with the high ball, and Pineda able to secure it. Played along the far sideline. Now a turnover. Hartnell thinking counter, and pass sent wide. But this one off of the Mounties. So Hartnell with the throw-in in the attacking third.
Or rather, a free kick, it appears.
Okay, yeah. We're going to get a foul call, and a kick will come. And again, dangerous spot. Lomeli will easily be able to flip this one deep into the box.
So keep an eye on that slashing run this time around from Espinal. See if they're going to try to run that decoy that was picked up on the last timeout by Dave.
And Espinal
Put it on his right foot and see how he whips this thing in and makes it. He's going to make it dangerous.
hooking into the box, back out. And it looked like Ray Cohn had a chance on it, and big collision.
Yeah, the man on that foul, I think that might have been Sanchez.
Sanchez or on that.
Yeah, he lost his footing, I noticed at the time or there, and didn't really have a choice because he wasn't going to be able to get up to speed.
It's Matt Palos.
But we'll call that, a tactical foul. And if you're going to impose it on somewhere, that's where you do it. You do it in your own half. You know it's coming. You know you're going to take a yellow, but it's better than Mount SAC. You're running at you 3v2 or 2v1, or and if you're a center back, you're one of the last dudes. So smart foul. Just nature of the game.
Sanchez with the foul. Long pass, trying to get it to Mendez, but that back line of Espinal and Cabrera able to clear it out. Looking for Bedoya, but it's Ramos taking it out of the air. Back to midfield. It's Romo who has come in as well for the Mounties. Pineda, pass through. Mendez, Palos on the run. Down goes Palos. No call. And
he's not going to get that one.
off of Romo, and it'll go back to Cervantes for Hartnell.
That's a yellow card for embellishment.
Yeah, Cabrera clearly gets the foot in, gets all ball. If I may borrow parlance from another sport.
Also rather clearly disgusted by the attempt to gain favor and try to get that late PK.
Yes.
Is it
turned to him with a little get-up motion?
Is it more of a faux ball if it comes so late in the game as well? Is he telling me in the 90th minute you want to try and win it that way?
I don't know. Ask Australia.
And here's and here's the problem with that. If he does that and embellishes it that bad, if it comes later in the game and you got one in the final third, you get one in the box, how likely is the referee going to look at it and say, yeah, I think you embellished it again? Well, maybe you did get fouled.
Yeah. Give and go. And it's Romo. Can't get there in time. Cabrera again able to play it out, but the Mounties can continue the attack deep in Hartnell territory. Still in possession. They leave it back. Shot from outside the box. Blocked out front. Still loose. Panthers able to clear, but not all the way out. Esparza. And they'll play it back. Now they'll have to reset as the pass a little offline for Pineda. We're in stoppage time here in the second half. Still tied at 1. Dangerous. Ranhel with the steal. Ranhel tries to cross. That's blocked. Boy, that was nothing but empty net if Ranhel can get that across. Watch here. That was almost a disastrous error from Cardenas. And it's Ramos who was able to get a piece as we bring it back to live action. Season-saving block for Ramos as Ranhel.
Ramos recovered really well, really, really well.
Yeah, look how far over he had to come from the right side to close that.
Yeah, and Bedoya's all alone in the box. That one gets over in any way, shape, or form. You're going to have one that I might be able to finish.
And I think that's what he's trying to do. And, he also had the opportunity. He could have taken a little touch and run around Cardenas as well and maybe try to do it himself.
Pineda from well outside and well over the bar. Both teams have been involved in an overtime contest in the postseason this year. Again, we talked about the ongoing heart attack against Fresno in round 2 for Hartnell, trailing twice in overtime, eventually winning it in penalty kicks, but Mount Sac also in round 2 forced to go to overtime against Santa Ana, where they put 3 on the board in overtime to ultimately win it going away 5-2, but nonetheless taken to extra time by Santa Ana in round 2.
And while the Santa Ana game, as you said, a bit of a floodgate opening in extra time, they needed a goal in the 87th minute in order to tie that and send it to the extra period.
Absolutely. Palos is tripped up, but it stays with the Mounties. Romo in space, finding Mendez. Mendez chips it in front, the header and a goal!
Wow.
Castro on the board. Haven't called his name much, but here in stoppage time, he gives the Mounties a 2-1 lead. Only a couple of minutes after, guys, we saw a golden opportunity for Hartnell and a great play to keep it alive. And the attack, and Castro ends up free and clear out front, finishes with the header.
Just amazing, having hardly had reason to call his name for most of the day, for Castro to pop up at a moment like that. That is a quality player, head still in the game with a chance to win it for his side. And also to call out here, Alex Mendez, 2 assists now on the day, responsible for the pass to set up Piceno back at the in the first half, and now this one, potentially a championship winner.
Big plays and big moments.
It makes the Andre Ramos close down earlier even that much more vital, because not only were they not stuck behind, but now they actually have the chance to come up here and win this in regulation.
And we've talked about a little bit how both of these teams have had to have big goals and big moments to get to this point. Maybe almost more tested a little bit in the games coming into the Final Four as opposed to their semifinal game. But even Hartnell, going back to their opening round match against, which they wouldn't have expected against a Napa Valley team, they had to score, I think it was late, 88th, 89th, like something like that, to take the game out of overtime and go 3-2 win there in the first round.
No, you're absolutely right. That game was tied up with 9 minutes to go by Napa Valley, and at least by my records here, I've got Ron Hell with the game winner in stoppages.
Yes.
So Hartnell will need to make something happen in a hurry. We are in stoppage time, and Mount SAC with a 2-1 lead, closing in on what would be Coach Juan Sanchez's 6th championship in his tenure here at Mount San Antonio College.
I mentioned that'll have him all alone atop the list for most titles for a men's soccer head coach in the 3C2A. He's been tied for several years with George Avakian of Foothill.
Chipped in front, and on the bounce, it's Cardenas. And for Hartnell, what a heartbreaker in the closing moments. After, guys, I think we'd agree they had really upped their play in the second half, and for the most part had the better of it, but they will fall short as Mount San Antonio College, the men are back on top. Another championship for the Mounties, and head coach Juan Sanchez, a 2-1 win in the men's final.
Really big credit to Hartnell for coming out at halftime and not just hanging around, but changing the tempo of that game and looking for cracks in the armor of SAC. And then, of course, Mount SAC to just go against the run of the play. And we said big plays and big moments, and that's exactly what happened with Mount SAC. And I tell you right now, Mount SAC's goalkeeper Cardenas is buying dinner and lunch for everybody to help him. He had some troubles in the second half, but he did come out, cleared a couple crosses. Credit to him for being confident, and credit to Mount SAC for being resilient and taking their opportunities when they had it there in the second half.
Go back to the last goal, and I don't know if we can replay that, but it was interesting as we'll try to bring that back, but guys, to my memory, it was a reasonably slow developing attack. It was kind of measured. We'll take you back right to the start, and it comes as they come out of the zone, and it's Romo on the drive, but just a couple of passes, and all of a sudden you find Mendez in the clear. And then, Joe, as you were talking about, has been dynamite from the outset. This is a perfect cross to find Castro.
Well, and credit to the official, especially in that moment, too, because Giovanni Gloria got wiped out back in the defensive third at the beginning of this, and he wisely plays advantage, lets this thing roll, and we get a moment to remember and to savor as a result.
One more look again, and they find Castro, who really the leading scorer, but again had been well bottled up for much of the action today. But as is so often the case with the elite players, hard to completely contain the longer you go, and Castro got his chance and took full advantage.
Well, and Castro would actually
to me too.
Go ahead,
Joe. Yeah, I was going to say interesting to me too, in that we're in the, I don't know what that was, the 95th, 94th minute, wherever it is, and Hartnell seemed to be a little stretched out, and I don't know if they were just trying to get the winner, but you would think at that point to try and condense the middle of the field a little bit, say, hey, let's see if we can get a couple guys forward, we'll get one, but let's not give one up, and let's get this thing to overtime and keep imposing ourselves on the game. But it was one of those really opened up moments, like it was kind of 0-0 in the 70th or 1-1 or 2-2 in the 70th, and the game had just gotten stretched out.
And I was just going to comment the fact that Castro, with that, it took him all the way until minute number 93, 94 to get it, but kept his record alive of having scored in every postseason match, and none bigger than that.
Yeah, save the biggest one for last. I think they're to bring home this championship for Mount San Antonio College. They're back on top with a 2-1 win. And, of course, a reminder, we are going to stay here. We will give you visuals from the field to cover the award presentation, and we will also try to secure an interview or two as well with either coaches or players, and we'll see who we can grab. So stick around. We're going to continue to cover the award presentation and the aftermath here of Mount SAC's win. They're the 2021 3C2A men's soccer champions. Very pleased to be joined by Edward Castro. And Edward, obviously, I think you could well imagine where we're going to go with this. Let's talk about the goal there in stoppage time. Take us back, and we'll see if maybe we can get the play, but if not, take us back as that play is developing, because that was a full run, starting with a takeaway in your zone, but all the way back. Can you talk about how that play developed and where your head was as that was going on?
First off, thank you for the interview. And, I just seen my teammate running down the wing, and I always tell him, look for me first post, and I was there, and luckily it went in. Yeah,
we know as we're looking, as we'll take you back here to the play, and you see this is just a great job as well by Alex Mendez, who was so very good today. And, boy, he puts this spot on for you, doesn't he? Is that a preferred kind of shot for you there? Is that the header? Is that where you feel really comfortable if you can get that one and redirect on goal?
Yeah, I always run, make my runs first post, and, it was a great ball from Mendez.
We were talking today as we came in. We know that you had a big postseason. You'd scored in every match so far, and but hadn't called your name a lot today. They seem to be doing a pretty good job limiting your opportunities. Can you talk about what Hartnell was trying to do against you for today before you were finally able to break through there and get the big goal?
Yeah, Hartnell's a great team. One of the hardest teams we played in the season, and they were man marking me good, but at the end we got the goal.
One of the other storylines that we were talking about today involved Coach Juan Sanchez, and he is now the most decorated 6 championships here at Mount San Antonio College. I know you know what that means, but talk about what it means here to play for a program that's had so much success and a coach like Juan Sanchez and what he's able to teach you.
Yeah, it's a great privilege being able to play for Juan, and it's a great team and a great program. It's a privilege to be in this program, and
anything you want to say here? I know we got a worldwide audience here, so anybody you want to thank, specifically, but also maybe say hi to as well before we let you get back to your teammates.
Thank the coaching staff and say hello to my family.
Okay, absolutely, Edward. Thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. Get back there and celebrate with the guys.
Thank
Congratulations.
You. Appreciate it.
All right. Mount San Antonio College, the 2021 3C2A men's soccer champions, off a 2-1 win. Jeff Stoynoff, Joe Hickey back with you from Walnut. And Joe, that was pretty well a classic. That was a great response by Hartnell in the second half, but the Mounties just found one more opportunity and made the most of it.
Yeah, we had pretty much the classic game of two halves. Mount SAC dominating the first 45 minutes in possession, creating the opportunity for the go-ahead goal there, a bit of an unexpected source. Travis Pisano finishing off the expert work from Palos and Mendez up the gut, and just sprang so quickly. But like you said, Hartnell finding another gear and justly rewarded for everything they put out there in the second half by that goal from Rangel. Fantastic finish. And then at the very, very close, a couple of big opportunities on both sides. We had the giveaway to Rangel that could have created a goal for him or for Bedoya to win it for the Panthers and complete that double they were looking for. And instead, the big moment coming by way of Mount SAC. And again, the quality from Mendez and the class that just cannot be denied of a man like Edward Castro, bottled up for so long, able to get the strike when it counts, and crown them champions. Yeah,
absolutely. We're showing you right here. And here is that Castro goal. Perfect development out of their own end. It goes from Mendez to Castro. And, of course, going back to the women's match, a 3-0 final. So maybe not a game that will be one that will be remembered for a long, long time, but a performance that will be remembered for a long, long time. The Hartnell women were sensational. Particularly Jasmine Castillo with a couple of goals. But what a performance from Hartnell this morning in all phases of the game. And that is something that won't be forgotten soon.
Yeah, a Cyprus team that certainly knew how to put the ball in the back of the net, had their issues with the Hartnell back line. Jada Taylor, a monster back there in terms of the organization, in terms of just the knowledge and the intelligence about when to go in and make that slide tackle or that last-ditch intervention to end an attack. And then, again, a Cyprus team that had been the fourth-ranked defense in the state. You had Siriana Gudino coming in with the second best goals against average and the best save percentage in the entire state of California. But Hartnell had seen things like that before. They took advantage of both Sierra and Mount SAC in the last two rounds, hanging 3 goals on the Wolverines and hanging 2 on Mount SAC in the first half. And both of those teams also very highly rated defenses, both of them conceding less than 0.7 goals per game. So just a ton of quality. And Jasmine Castillo, that one little bit of extra, the super sub to come off the bench and run you ragged after your defense has already had to run around and chase them for the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, I lost count. Did she have more goals this weekend than on the season, or was it only an equal? I know you remember. It was...
I believe she equaled her tally. Yeah, 3 goals for the regular season and had not scored in the postseason yet, and then comes up with 1 on Friday and 2 today. Just a big-time performance. Yeah,
come into the weekend and double your goal total. That's going to spell good things for your team, I think, and it did for Hartnell, the champions, this week. Joe, it was so great having you on. Really appreciate the time. Tremendous information. It was a great job, and we really appreciate you coming on.
It's been my pleasure, Jeff. Always a good time to work with you.
All right. Do want to thank the rest of our team. Of course, thanks to Joe Hickey and Dave LaTourette for joining us on the broadcast. Onesta James Francis as well joining us for the first half of the championship. And, of course, our team here at SoCal College Sports, Andrew Stephen, Angelo Solis, Seth Garber, Scott Tyndall, Matt Tyndall. On camera, Lorenzo Osuna directing our broadcast. Mike Cepeda, Emery Johnson, producer, director for our broadcast here today. And, of course, Joe Jenham and Kenneth Walter here at Mount San Antonio College for hosting us as well. The Mounties and the Panthers, the champions here in 2021. You have been watching the 3C2A Soccer Championships here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. So long, everybody.